Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. I as always am Grestar and this is a post-commentary on a run of My Hero 1's Justice 2 that I did. This is a speedrun for the hero percent category, and it was able to get world record, so yay! Out of like the 6 or 7 other people currently on the board. So really quickly, if I sound stuffy, I do apologize. It's because I am stuffy. We're watching a cat for someone, and she is just a little love monster, but unfortunately, you know, nose acts up. Anyway, so this part really quickly is the tutorial, and all you need to do for that is you can see the different buttons it wants you to do on the left-hand side. Different buttons or combinations of buttons, you know. And so you try to find the fastest way to get them all done. And so here I think I just needed to do the dashes because I had forgotten about them. And then once you're done with all of those, after a little bit of talking, you just have to beat him one time and you get to move on to the next tutorial section, which is a little worse because you have other combo things that you need to do. That's where it teaches you to do your plus ultras, which are basically your ultimate attacks. But you can't just do them whenever you want. Like every time he introduces the plus ultras, and you just kind of have to wait, you know, wait for it to be ready for you to actually do it. So we get to skip all of the cutscenes in this game, and after each mission, it brings us back to this mission selection screen. We just hit down, we start the next mission, etc. With, like, most of the missions, you want to spam start during the loading screen because it skips the cutscene. For this particular one, leading into the second tutorial, you actually want to spam A. And another thing that I only learned, like, 2 attempts ago, so the attempt before this one, was at the beginning of the tutorial sections, All Might talks, and I thought you had to wait for him to finish, but if you mash A, eventually it'll skip the text and you can start it a little bit earlier. But here once again, I just have 2 things I need to do. I need to successfully recover while down, and then do a sidekick attack. I can't do the sidekick attack until the Uraraka and Ida things are lit up like they are now, so I had to wait. And for the recover while downed, I had to let him punch me and, you know, down me. And so waiting for things like that can be annoying just because it's not really up to you when you do everything. Sometimes you have to wait for All Might. And he likes to just run around at the weirdest times. Or like with the guard cancel attack, he likes to do this like the smash attack, which was a lot harder for me at least to do the guard cancel attack. But I also made a mistake there, so when I knocked him back, I didn't mean to be holding guard at the time, so I meant to just do a normal X attack, just a basic attack on him. I like to do that before I do my ultras, or like lead that into my plus ultra attacks, just because it kind of staggers the opponent for a moment. It lets me know that they're not blocking so that I can actually hit them with the plus ultra. So hitting him away, it actually cost me, I think, like 5 seconds of when I could have done my plus ultra one, but yeah. Another thing too, so in this game, you're able to switch the dialogue between English and Japanese. And I had been playing it Japanese at first because I hadn't noticed any difference really between them. I haven't specifically timed, you know, the dialogue you have to wait through to see which is faster. I'm assuming English is faster, but I like the Japanese voice acting better. And since I didn't notice an outright difference, I was just going to play as it. But when he's talking about doing your plus ultra 1, if you're playing on English, I think that you're actually let go earlier. Like, he keeps talking, but when I was doing it in Japanese, you weren't able to move until he was, I think, completely finished talking. So I think that English is the faster way to go in this game, really just because of that. So this last one, we need to do the plus ultra all. We need to have 3 full bars of that plus ultra up there. You can see the 2 means we have 2 bars right now. We need the plus ultra text completely full. And then we need to hit left bumper, and this is because I changed my controls just a little bit to kind of better match Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, because that's what I'm familiar with. But you need to hold that, and then press Y and B at the same time. I've messed that up so many times, like it'll just do the plus ultra 1 or the plus ultra 2, which is, you know, the left bumper plus Y or left bumper plus B, instead of all 3 of them. But I was able to get it this time, so I didn't have to reset, thankfully, you know, these 4.5 minutes into the run. And once again, we just have to finish All Might off. And so the fastest way that I found works with Midoriya is I do 1 X attack, maybe 2, just to make sure I connect. And then I just spam Y. And then he does like 2 kind of heavier attacks, basically. But you see, like, he kicks him up into the air and then does like a little bicycle kick, slams him back down. It's powerful, and it doesn't embed the enemy into the ground, and so they oftentimes flip up, and then you can just X and then repeat that over and over again. It's pretty nice. With Todoroki, so in this game, as you can see, you play as different characters. With Todoroki, what I have found to be best, and this could be completely wrong, is I jump, I do the counter attack. It's when my character is like kind of coated in orange. You can see it. You'll see it soon because I'm doing his plus ultra first. But especially in the air, he kind of like floats after the enemy. Like you can see this, he floats after the enemy. He goes through attacks. That's why I do the counter attack specifically. And then I do his over B attack, which kind of freezes him. I do his regular B attack, which I think just like does a slice of flame. And then I press Y because it shoots out that burst, that little funnel of flame. But like if I hadn't been using the counterattack, where again it like coats my character in orange like that, when Endeavor flamed me, I totally would have been knocked back, completely interrupted. But the counterattack lets you push through most other kinds of moves unless they're also counterattacks, basically. Like other counterattacks, or I think plus ultras will stop it. But yeah, playing as different characters throughout this story mode, you just kind of have to learn, like figure out what's best for that character. And I am not going to say that I found the best things. I've just found the best things for me right now. Bakugo is one of my least favorite characters to play as because he doesn't seem to have a lot of good long-range attacks. And like if I jump in the air and press X, which is what I use a lot of times to reach people, he just does this like burst of flame down beneath him. And if an enemy's in that, like that, you know, if an enemy's in that, cool, you can like catch them in a combo, but otherwise it doesn't work out well. So what I've started to do with him, I hold down Y, and you can see he becomes like that greenish blue, you know? And then he's able to launch that little like ball of flame that then explodes. So once they're up, I jump, and then I shoot it down. And it seems to be a lot more reliable. Now it obviously can still miss if the enemy... Here, yeah, I should have just punched him, so... It can obviously still miss, and I didn't do great this fight for sure. But it's like the most consistent I've been able to be with Bakugo. And I'm not going to say that Bakugo's a bad character by any means. I'm just saying that like his playstyle doesn't seem to mesh with mine very well. Or I haven't found, you know, just my right strides. But that's what I try to do, is I try to focus a lot on that charge Y so I can do that long-range explosion attack. And just hope that it hits, because sometimes the enemies can just run around and it's really obnoxious. With Nina, I just try to connect with X while on the ground specifically. And so, like, I had to break that a lot for this one because he was just aerial so many times. But I try to connect with X and then just shoot the acid at him. And, you know, if he gets, like, the full brunt of it, it can do quite a bit of damage. It's not the most of any character by any means, but it's fairly quick. And so as long as I can keep connecting like that, the issue is, again, if he goes up too high or if he uses a counter attack and then just knocks me off like this. I mean, he didn't hit me that time, but he often would. That can slow me down, but this one worked out pretty well. So every time at the end of a fight, the characters will have their own unique animations, their own little victory dance kind of thing, you know? You just have to mash A through that and then mash start to get through the cutscene. Yeah, so once again, I'm going to try with this guy like first because I'm not great as Bakugo. I want to get out the guaranteed damage of his plus ultra, but then you can see I was green again, I charged up my shot. I'm going to try to lock him into it, but he dodged that one, and so he was able to get that like body slam off on me. So instead, while he was there, I just caught him in that combo. I thought I had the wide charged, and I did not. And it's attacks like that the Nomu's doing now, the spinning one, I hate, because it might not do a ton of damage, but boy, does it lock me in place for a while. So I start to become a little bit more desperate for damage here. Bakugo really is not my favorite, and I need to learn how to play him better. But it was good enough. Like, it actually was good for me doing this level. It just wasn't good in general, I don't feel. There are a number of characters like that, like, you know, Bakugo I'm not good with. I'm not good with Aizawa yet. Not great with Ochako either. But here I'm going to try, you know, X, and then I'm going to do something a little different, I think, for a lot of it. Or maybe I didn't know. I guess that was the previous attempt. Never mind. So what I was trying before, so like first I had this in mind, and then I was like, oh, I could try something else. Like, what if I connect with X, and then I mash B, and then I like move cancel, and I dash up to them, and I restart it. And it just didn't seem to go well. So I went back to X, Y, Y, X, Y, Y, just repeating that over and over again. And it took the Nomu down very quickly. So I was quite pleased with that. Really nice when, yeah, you don't embed them into the ground, and so they just somersault up right away, and you can just connect and redo it over and over again. Usually, even if you don't embed them, they'll at some point stay in the ground, and you just kind of have to wait for them to get back up, which is annoying, but yeah. With this guy, what I've decided to do, I hold Y to like summon more of those fingers, and then I hold Y and forward to charge that like ranged attack. And sometimes it goes really well. I mean, I think the fastest I've been able to beat him with it is like at the 76 on that counter. And I do not do that well this time, unfortunately. But it's the fastest slash most consistent way I found to fight this guy so far. What I was trying before is I would rush up to him, jump, connect with X, maybe do another X, and then just like do my, I think forward B, maybe just normal B. I don't remember for sure, but yeah. I do like this version better, but as you can see, with, again, my fastest thing being 76, that was like 11 seconds slower, so you can see my time just ticking down. Did not do as well, definitely lost time on that fight, but yeah. I mean, you can only control what the enemy does so much, right? Like, the best thing I can do is, you know, try to get those combos that I worked on and just execute them like over and over again. Don't give them room to breathe, basically, but sometimes things break it. Like here, I was trying to do my normal X, Y, Y, but she did a counter attack and led into her plus ultra with it, threw me off. Tried to go into another one, and look at that, she did another thing that just completely threw me off. Finally getting into the combo. This time I embedded her, so I have to wait for her to get back up. Because Deku has basically like two versions of that bicycle kick. One, he just knocks them down, and one, he like knocks them down and then seems to punch their head into the ground. And so like the kick doesn't do as much, but then the punch is where you get like that extra bit of damage with that particular combo. But after that hiccup at the beginning, the rest of the fight went smoothly, which was good. But this one, I really don't like. This is the only time that you actually play as Ochako in this game, in the, you know, hero percent, or in the hero mode. And what I want to do is connect with at least one X, ideally get them like floating like that, and then press Y, and just keep doing that over and over again. But Cammy, she's one of my least favorite enemies to fight. She gets me with this all the time. Because, like, once she starts the animation, it always seems to be too late for me to guard. Like, I try, but it just seems too late to do. And what you saw right there, so if I press Y as Ochako, after an X, like, she starts doing that spinny thing with, like, the block. If I do forward Y, she launches a stone instead, which is not what I want. And so the issue is sometimes I'll press forward to move, like, toward the enemy, and then press Y to do the spinny thing. But, you know, instead it launches the stone, and that wastes a lot of time. And once again, she's doing this. And, like, you can't even look at the... Like, thankfully, I hit her first, because that would have wasted a lot more time. When someone's doing a plus ultra, that timer in the center stops. That was 67 at the end. And so you can't even use that as a reliable means of, like, gauging how well you're doing. But even with that having gone fairly poorly, you can see I ended up saving quite a bit of time on that segment, because the previous run, I just did so poorly there. So, like, you know, pros and cons. This one, because it's Bakugo again, I'm going to connect with X, and then use his plus ultra. Again, I like to connect just to make sure that I'm facing them, they're not guarding, that kind of thing. You can see I turn green, I charge it up. This is how I want these to go, where I jump once they're ready, I press Y to shoot it, and they just take it, you know? They don't dodge it. Like, he blocked it that time, which was unfortunate. But that was, I think, that was the only, like, flaw that I really felt there, you know? Again, I'm sure some people could do this faster. I'm definitely not good at fighting games, like especially not this one. I've just tried to work on like what's the best way I can get out the most damage possible in like the shortest amount of time, specifically against AI. Because like if you tried to do these things against a human player, I'm pretty sure they would catch on right away, you know, and be able to wreck you in the end. But yeah, so doing Denki's ultimate as well, just to get out that damage right away. Trying to capture him in this, but he flipped out of it. And now that I'm supercharged, because I think that raises the damage of this. I mean, he got me, so that was unfortunate. Connect. Want to press B to unleash that. The issue is if you do too much of that, Denki, you know, becomes kind of brain dead for a few seconds, which is going to happen. And that's not ideal, but it just happens. So there he is. He used too much electricity. But we know that he's close, so we're just going to try to finish him off real quick. He was not as close as I had hoped. Those last couple blasts were not enough. So that's definitely a fight that I know I could do better. You know I could beat that one faster. I have beaten it faster before. It didn't go as well as I'd hoped, but it wasn't the worst. Like, we're still saving time overall in the run, which is nice. And yeah, some of these missions, as you've noticed, I'm sure, they're just videos, and so you click into them just because you have to, as per the rules of this category, but you just mash start to, like, skip the cutscene, and then you're immediately brought back to the mission selection. Once again, you're gonna see me jump and use my counter attack, so I turn orange and I, like, slowly, menacingly float toward them. I think it's funny. It's not the fastest, just because, you know, you want to be, like, dealing damage as often as possible. You know, you don't want that huge wind-up. But, that just seems to be the safest, most consistent way for me to do it. Because if I don't do it this way, if I'm not counter-attacking, then they could just hit me with a counter-attack and completely throw off my combo. Or, sometimes, too, just jumping and hitting X, while it does have, like, that sort of homing effect, which I really appreciate, and you'll see me use it later on, especially with, like, oh my gosh, Mirio. I was like, why can't I think of his name? With Mirio. With most characters, or a lot of characters, it doesn't have the same duration as the counterattack, from what I've noticed, and so yeah. This guy's a little bit different from me. Because with a lot of characters, what I was trying to do, like, I would basically try to just do kind of like 3-button combinations over and over again. But with him, I actually do his full X combo. Once they're in the air, I jump up, I dash, and then I connect with another X combo. I'm just basically continuing to mash X here until I slam them down like that. And then I try to go down, meet them, and restart it. Sometimes it goes better than other times. Like, when it goes well, it goes really well. Unfortunately, I missed that last attack there, and I think now he's going to start hitting me. Yeah. So, like, with how weak he was, I think that I should have expected him to do a counter, and I should have countered in turn. Because now I'm wasting all this time with him comboing me, with me being thrown around. And I'm just trying desperately to connect and get a combo going again. Finally, I was able to. But it took a lot longer than it had to. And even then, he survives with just, like, that little sliver. So I just wanted to get one punch off, and thankfully was able to. But you know it's not good when the enemy starts throwing you around, especially when they're so close to being dead, and that's not the only time it happens in this run either. Pretty sure there's one with Midoriya against Chisaki, which was very sad. Like, if I just did one counter, he would have died, I think, from that, but I didn't think of it at the time. So with this, gonna try the same thing. X to connect, and then 2 Ys to actually get the damage in. Hoping that he just flips up. If he doesn't, it's a little more risky in general, because they, like, their invincibility frames last a little bit into when they can actually start doing moves, I think. And I don't want to give them a chance as Midoriya to do moves here, you know? I want to connect right away and be dealing all the damage I can be. But yeah, that one, I did pretty well compared to how I did in the past. So I was pleased with that.
Let's begin. Let's begin. Final round. Ready? Clash. Has it become
This one's no different than my other Midoriya. Like, I play all the Midoriya ones the same, except for the last one, because you have to play that differently. But Bakugo can be a little trickier. Like, at the start of the match, usually what I do is I just mash X to connect with them, and then go into my YY combo. But Bakugo often starts, like, running away from Deku, to the point where, like, you can't reach him. This is where you hope to jump over him, not get caught in that, and thankfully I was in the middle of my combo where that just worked out. But it was unfortunate that he did his plus ultra anyway, just because the animation alone took time. But either way, we took him out really quickly. That was another case where really, because he had a sliver of health and I was waiting for him to get up, I should have just done the counter attack, because that would basically have been guaranteed damage. But I didn't. Thankfully, it worked. You know, he didn't get up and immediately, like, fight me back. But, but that's something that I should work to remember in the future. So this is the first match that you're playing as Midoriya, and what I found is best to do, for me at least, is jump, press X, it kind of just launches you toward Deku, and then hit him with your Y attack, because that's your big damage. Like, that one hit does a ton of his health. So as soon as he gets up, that's what I'm trying to do, just connect with X and then Y. Sometimes it misses, but like the Y still works anyway, which is nice. But the biggest issue I have with fighting Deku in this stage is when he does his B direction, like his B over, whatever. That's when he's like sliding along the ground. And you've seen like it caused issues sometimes. That's how he gets a combo going. He gets me up into the air, juggles me for a moment. And so it's those moments where it would be a good idea to jump and do like the counter attack, which is like direction X instead. But it's just not as fast. And so when I feel like I can at least, I try to just do jump X and then, you know, Y. But not always for the best. But just X, Y, Y, and then hope it works. But Mirio this time was very counter-attack happy. So he hit me with that multiple times. Waiting for him to get up, and then I start it, but he's immediately doing his counter-attack. So the nice thing is, like, when I'm hitting him when he's counter-attacking, I'm still dealing damage. But I don't have the same, like, he doesn't get knocked back. He doesn't get caught in a combo. So it's really close to beating him here. I just need to do one more hit. Counterattack, maybe? No, I don't counterattack. Usually what I've been doing is just trying to connect with B, because they're pretty fast attacks, and they can be pretty powerful. The issue is that the first one doesn't seem to lock on. He just Deku kicks basically right where he is. The second one, it kind of does a little more homing. But when they're that weak and I just need to connect with one more combo, I think that I should start doing a counterattack as soon as they start to get up, basically, so that I break through any counterattack that they're doing, and I can just start whatever last combo I need. I don't think I want to do counterattacks throughout the entire battle, because that's when it, you know, because counterattacks take longer to activate. And more than that, too, when I do the counterattack, he ends by embedding them in the ground. Like, it does that other version of the bicycle kick. And so it takes longer for the enemy to get back up, which means there's a longer period of time where I can't damage them. But when I just need, like, that one more combo to get the last bit of damage I need in to knock them out, that's when I think that I should probably start, you know, using the counterattack just to finish them off. So we have some videos to skip until we get to the 28th mission, Catch Up Kirishima.
Let's begin. Let's begin.
One thing you want to try to avoid, which you could see right there, is you don't want to accidentally re-click into the same mission. I've done that, and it's not good. So because I'm not great at dealing damage with Kirishima, I connect with X, and then I use his Ultra just to get out that guaranteed damage right at the beginning. My favorite thing to do with him is to do his Y direction, because it does that like spinny thing, and so it can be pretty powerful. Like you can see, that was a good chunk of damage that it did, and it also breaks through the counterattacks. Like it counts as a counterattack itself, I feel. like you saw right there. And so it's really nice. The issue is that it's not the longest range attack, and the damage that it deals is a little inconsistent. I don't know if the bulk of the damage happens like right at the beginning or right at the end or in the middle or whatever, but sometimes it does like half of the damage that I expect it to. And it doesn't always even seem necessarily based on the duration of like how long you have them in the spin. I assume it mostly is, but just hasn't seemed like it all the time. Once again, I'm not the best with her, so I'm going to connect, use my plus ultra just to get out that guaranteed damage. And thankfully her plus ultra is pretty darn powerful. And from here, I'm going to connect and then just spam B until I finish with that. Sometimes you'll see me cancel out of it to try to start moving more quickly again. Or maybe I don't cancel out of it at all this time. And then I might do a Y forward like you saw there, shoot out that like ring of damage, just to get in a little bit more damage and kind of stun him a little bit until I can get close enough to initiate that X BBB again. So like I was very happy with how that fight went. I think it was actually the first time I ever even tried using her plus ultra, and I was pleased by the damage it did. And thankfully that guy, he didn't harass me like he sometimes does. He can do his own like counterattack where he just runs at you throwing these super awkward punches, and like I hate it visually and it stuns me for so long. But yeah, Aizawa, I'm really not good as him. I tried to connect with X and then use my plus ultra to get some damage, but he was blocking, and so I really shouldn't have used it because all it did was waste time on that cutscene. But yeah, I mean with him, my best bet is like I try to connect with X and then immediately press Y for his like upward kick. I think now, after how I think the Toga fight went later on in this run, I should, if I connect, I should use more X's because it's more damage and it like knocks him up a little bit more, and then end with Y instead of just doing X and then Y right away. But yeah, still definitely not good with Aizawa. I mean, I almost lost this fight. And unfortunately, his is, so his like counterattack when in the air, it's not as good as Todoroki's, you know, where he kind of just like floats after the enemy. Aizawa stays stationary and like kind of like charges up his spin for a moment, it seems, and then he launches himself vaguely in the direction of the enemy, but it doesn't seem to have nearly the same homing effect as other enemies' attacks, again like Todoroki. His is very floaty. And unfortunately, I missed that, and he did his perfect thing. That's basically the combo I was mentioning with like the punches that are really awkward, except he has a sword. Because it's basically the same enemy. Tried to use his plus ultra. I don't think it works quite right because I'm pretty sure that the enemy was supposed to be clamped in that like clamshell. But it still did a decent amount of damage, you know, hitting him twice with the roll and then with the swordfish at the end. But then I'm going back to just kind of like my tried and true combo. I've been like on the fence about how I want to play as Tamaki. But what I do basically, I just do X combos until like that second or third stab with like the crab claw, and then I press Y and I finish with the swordfish. Because I was initially going to do like, I think if you jump and forward Y, you just do a swordfish slash, or it's something. No, that might be a clamshell. But there's something jumping in Y, I think. Or there's like connecting with X and then immediately doing Y, where you just do the swordfish stab. But some people you play as, it seems that if you spam a combo, it'll become like less powerful over time. Bakugo has that, like if you do X to connect and then just spam Y to do like his little power shots, seems the explosions do less and less damage. The swordfish seems to do less damage as Nejire. It seems like if you just spam her Y forward to like shoot the energy rings out at people, they do less damage. Yeah. With him, I try to do like X, 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 Y, Y. I think it might just be Y, honestly. Something I've had to learn with this, because what you've probably seen me do a lot, because I do it for like every character to some extent, when an enemy gets knocked down, I'll then like run up to them and just try to immediately connect with an X as soon as their invincibility frames wear off so that I can catch them in a combo before they start catching me in a combo. With Fat Gum, he attacks much more slowly, and so I have to press X, and I think the same thing basically with like Ochako. I have to press X earlier, but I still can't be too far away that it's not going to connect. And so it's a bit of a gamble sometimes when you want to unleash that. But yeah, one damage out right away is Kirishima. Wait for him to get up, you know, or start getting up. I think I waited too long at one point. But then, you know, connect immediately with that. And see, it breaks his counterattack, which is really nice. Fortunately, slammed him against the wall, which just took a little bit extra time. I don't want to do that. I just want them to land and then hop back up. Like, I think in every situation, that's the best outcome for me, is they land and then somersault back up immediately. And he just has a sliver of health, which I didn't realize at the time because it was still showing as like a chunk of red. But it only took a little bit longer. I think I wasted like 2 seconds here, or not wasted, like lost. Oh, not even. Not even 2 seconds. But that's what this game has been for me. It's been a journey of just trying to discover, you know, again, like the fastest combos that get out the most damage and that I can do the most consistently. This Toga fight, like first I'm not great as Aizawa, but then this Toga fight in particular, I feel can just go really poorly for me sometimes. I didn't know what I accidentally did here, and then I did it again. So like, I have her like in the bandages, and I think it was I pressed X, and then that reeled her in for another hit. But yeah, if I remember correctly, I thought that this fight went really well actually as Aizawa, and I was attributing that in part to the that plus ultra. But like if we, you know, we'll watch all the way to the end of the fight, obviously. Once it ends though, like I really like I've already started losing time. And so I don't know exactly how I did it before, but I did it better than that, and I didn't use the plus ultra in that previous fight, so I must have just been looping her through combos over and over again. Okay, so as Night Eye, what I've found I like to do now, immediately jump, do Y direction to throw these. Like when you're in the air and you do Y direction, it immediately slams Night Eye back down, and he faces the enemy. If you just are on the ground and you do forward Y, he'll just throw them wherever he's facing. He doesn't seem to do like a homing effect, but I just try to spam those two because it's a lot of damage. I should specify that like the forward Y while on the ground, it doesn't seem to do homing if it's the first attack that you do. After like the jump forward Y or jump Y direction, I guess, whatever, you know, however you want to think of it. He seems to then be more responsive with the homing at that point, but if it's the first thing I do, I think he just throws it straight out ahead of him. So with this fight, I'm going to try to be doing jump X and then Y, just to get that damage in over and over again. I don't think it goes as well as I would have liked. But you see, when it does connect, when it does work, like it really works. So even though he got me with that hit, at least I was able to like connect with Y first. But you can see all the time it took just because he was getting his combo out and I'm like locked in place. So ideally you don't ever want to get hit, but obviously in a fighting game there's only so much you can do to avoid that. Like if I had perfectly timed guards, you know, I'm sure that I could do a lot better, but I'm so preoccupied with like just getting in these hits as often as I can. And again, I'm not a player of fighting games. I just really don't play fighting games. And so I'm bad at them, you know? I'm bad at the nuances and, you know, again, I don't think I could do well at all against a human player. I think it's just I've specifically tried to find ways to counter the AI. And sometimes it works really well and sometimes it doesn't. With this fight in particular, this is, so, I mean, hopefully you're fine with spoilers. I assume you are if you're watching this part. If you're not, like, go away, click off. Anyway, this part in the show, Midoriya actually lost his quirk. You see his cape's all torn and everything. And so with this fight, you can only use X. Or, I mean, you could jump too. But, like, you can't do a plus ultra, you can't do Y, you can't do B, I'm pretty sure. I tried Y, I remember. I don't remember if I tried B, actually, but I'm pretty sure you can only use X attacks. And so basically I'm just trying to, you know, run up to him when he's coming back up, connect with him immediately with X, just do a full combo of it. If I do like that counterattack like you saw there, it changes the combo and it's not as long or powerful. If I attack him while I'm in the air, it's also different. And so it seems better to me, like if I can just connect with them on the ground, I get more hits in, I do more damage in a shorter amount of time. That's how it seems to be. So as long as he doesn't catch you in too many combos, at least that fight's fairly consistent because you can only do like so many different kinds of attacks yourself. So you just want to make sure that you maintain the upper hand, you know? As soon as like the enemy is available to be hit, you want to be hitting them. But once again, playing as Midoriya again, we're just going to try to connect with X, do YY, that bicycle kick, slam him back down. I think Chisaki is actually where I really like refined this strategy as Midoriya. Like that's when I really noticed like how often they'll just flip back up and I can just connect with X. Because before that, what I was doing was I would do the XYY, but then I would start like sprinting in a circle basically. And so then when they were available to be hit again, you know, I would have reached them once more. And that's when I, you know, that's when I would start the attack. Instead of doing just immediately X and then YY. But oftentimes that sprint, like if I mistimed it just a little bit, you know, it would give the enemy enough time to do an attack of their own. So playing as Night Eye, I'm going to be trying the same thing. It does not go as well as I would have wanted. Like he dodged those two, he immediately impaled me with a thing. He dodged that, he counterattacked. He's jumping, so I can't do anything. Like, finally I'm able to hit him again. But then he's gonna get up, and I think he hits me. No? Let's see. Let's see how it happens, then. There he went. Okay, that fight didn't go nearly as poorly as I remembered. Maybe I'm thinking of... I think I'm thinking of more of Midoriya. There's one that went really poorly. Or maybe, honestly, it was the run right before this. So, what it was I did one run. I got my, what did I get? I got 44:33, which was already world record, but only by like 21 seconds. And I had made some dumb mistakes, so I wanted to do better, you know? So I did this run like immediately afterward. So I might kind of mix the two. He was guarding here, which was unfortunate. That time I just, like, thankfully he didn't catch me in a combo. It just wasted one of my combos, basically. So just a little bit of time gone. But I think most of this fight went really well. You know, he flips up, I connect, I deal my damage, wait for him to get back up. That time I did well. I used a counter, I think. But again, like, doing the counter, it embeds them in the ground, and so I try to avoid that when possible. But here, I should have ended him that way. Oh no, that one was fine. Here's another issue with trying to remember how things happen and where. There are like, what, 4 fights with Midoriya against Chisaki? And then the, you know, not even counting the last one, which you'll see is very different. So trying to remember which fight with Midoriya against Chisaki went poorly. It's its own challenge. Because I think 2 of them are like normal Chisaki, and 2 of them are with like these, like, you know, broken arms kind of thing. Not broken arms, but you know what I mean. You can see it. You can see what I mean. But instead of like saying, watch, here's the part that I was referring to, let's just make sure this is actually the part that I was referring to this time. Where everything went poorly right at the end. So I need one more hit. Instead of doing a counterattack, I try to connect like normal, but instead he gets a combo off on me. And then he does this one that lasts 1 billion years. Yeah, so that was what I was referring to, where it's like, if I had just done one counterattack, that fight would have been done, you know, a good chunk faster. But, alas, I did not think to do that. But, you know, hindsight, 2020, all that kind of thing. Now we have one more normal fight as Chisaki. So he's lost his, you know, weird arms, right? His, like, reconstruction arms. Some of those hits just didn't seem to connect, even when I thought they should. He seemed to have, like... His somersault lasted, like, slightly longer than I thought it would. So I've tried to start, like, at the end there, waiting just a little bit longer. We both missed each other, which was interesting. And thankfully, when he grabbed me, that's, like, all that he did. He could have, like, chained a whole combo, but he did not, so yay. We get to go back into dealing damage. And there he goes. And this takes us into the final mission of the Hero% run. Because after this next mission, the hero mode of the game is over, and then you would be able to like unlock and play villain mode, which I've never done even casually yet. But yeah, you're playing as like full 100% powered Deku with, you know, Eri on your back. And you know, she's the only sidekick that I use in this run. Once her meter is filled, you can like, you know, just activate her and she'll heal you, which can be fairly important sometimes because he can do a lot of damage. But basically, the fastest way that I know to do this fight is to just connect with him with B. It's just your normal B, and it's just those multiple punches. And I try to go for a back leg so that more of his attacks will miss me. And specifically, I try to go for a thicker back leg. Because I don't know why, but from my experience, this combo, or this plus ultra here, it deals more damage against the thick back legs than it does like the thin back legs. And you might say they're back hands, but I don't care. They are more hand-like for sure, but you get what I mean when I say back legs. So I wait for my plus ultra to be full, and for him to hopefully not be moving or something. And then if I do one plus ultra, or rather like my plus ultra Y, right? It actually deals 2 different sets of damage. Like watch Chisaki's health, because I fire out like 1 leg slash, 2 leg slash. So if I can connect both of those, that's really nice. And again, it just seems to do more damage on the thick one. I don't know why. But that was just what I recall from my brief bit of testing. Which maybe is, you know, like insufficient, but that's what I go for. But yeah, not only does that just be the rapid punches, not only does it seem to do the most damage in this form, but it also seems to build up the plus ultra meter the fastest. And the plus ultra seems to be the fastest way to get damage out on Chisaki, you know, when he's a monster like this. So I have 2 of those built up, and again, I'm just trying to wait until a time I think he's going to be standing still for long enough that it would be worthwhile. Like there, I could see he was about to jump, and I tried to punch anyway, which I really shouldn't have. Should have just tried to get out of the way, but he didn't end up jumping on me anyway, so it was fine. Now he's using his plus ultra. I really don't want to be in the way of that, so I immediately try to go beneath him. Because if he gets me with a slam, it could initiate like a long cutscene that, you know, deals a lot of damage to me. The biggest issue, of course, really is just the time that it takes. Because, you know, in a speedrun, obviously, you want to save as much time as possible. Here we're going to do 1 plus ultra, because he's on his last bar of health now. And then 1 more plus ultra, because he's still down. But he's going to get back up now. Thankfully, that second one seemed to hit. It didn't seem to do as much damage, which, thinking about it, I don't know. Maybe that's because I hit in the wrong spot. Like, the thick legs are the weaker parts, but I hit wrong. And unfortunately, this cutscene, like, interrupted my second swing of that plus ultra. But it might be the same kind of thing where it's like, if you spam a combo, it seemed to do less damage with some characters, like Katsuki's explosions, you know? Like, I'll be the first to admit, there's a lot about this game and its mechanics that I don't understand. I'm not a casual player of this. I've only ever played hero mode. I did it one time, and then I immediately jumped into the speedrun for it. Never played villain mode, never played any of the online stuff. So we got him down to a sliver of health. We just needed to hit him one more time, and then we call time. So there it was at 42:54. If anyone's curious, the previous record, well, the previous was mine at like 40, what was it? 44:30 something, you know? But before that, because I didn't submit that one, you know, I just did this run immediately after it, it was 44:54. So I got 2 minutes faster, which feels good. You're welcome, Mary. And that marks the end of this speedrun, so, you know, thank you all for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you want to see more content like this, of course, I do have other speedruns, or I've, you know, plenty of other just normal videos, as you've probably seen on this channel. Feel free to check them out. If you want to ask any questions, like, I'll answer to the best of my ability, but, you know, I'm very new to this speedrun, My Hero One's Justice 2. I'm very new to the game itself. I started playing this, like, 4 days ago. I don't know, something like that. And so, you know, if you want information about, like, in-depth mechanics or things like that, any DLC character at all, like, I couldn't tell you. But, you know, I'll be happy to answer what I can. If you want to try anything like this or Dragon Ball Z Universe 2, hit me up or check speedrun.com leaderboards. I'll put a link to that in the description below. And yeah, thank you all again so much for watching, and with that, have a good one, everybody.